Emotions, what does it mean to the group to be able to come back, win this game in the fashion that you did?
Yeah, like I said before, man, it's great to get one back from these guys because they was up 2-0 on us. It's always good to win. It's always great to get a win in the NBA, man. It's hard to do it, especially with a defending champ team. So, yeah, it's just great to get the win, man. I can't really dwell too much on it. We got a game tomorrow, so I got to start thinking about that.
Malik, you're often regarded as the guy that provides an energy off the bench for the Kings, and it seems like when you get going, it's pretty contagious on the court. How much pride do you take in that, being that guy for the Kings?
Like I said, I mean, I love playing basketball, so I just take pride going out there, knowing it might be my last time playing. So can't take anything for granted. So yeah, that's all I do. Put heart into it and go out there and give it all.
Malik, you mentioned trade, and I saw he pulled you aside with about 50 seconds left. What did he say to you?
He told me stop bullshitting. Yeah, I missed a box out with I think it was Wiggs. Yeah, then he told me I got locked in.
Malik, was there aside from the actual stuff that maybe the coaches talked about that they need to change in the game when it came to specific details, was there a motivational speech at halftime, and what was said in the locker room to really just change the momentum for you guys in the second half?
I wouldn't really say it's a motivational speech. It's just Mike being Mike and telling us what we need to do a little better. And yeah, we just picked up the pressure and it worked for us.
Malik, 8 minutes for you in the first half. Was Mike on you about something? Was there something he wasn't happy with, and something to your second half performance?
That ain't my job, man. I don't know. I don't be worried about that. If I get too worried about that, I can't play. I can't go out there and perform like I did. So I just let Mike do what he do. I don't question him. I've been playing ball for several years, so I've been through it, up and down. So I'm used to it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Malik. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Get downhill, just trying to create an advantage somewhere. And then, a lot of guys are playing off of closeouts, and it's big for us, obviously, when they're making shots, but also just being able to get downhill and also make another play. And just trying to, generate a little bit easier offense for us. And I think they did a hell of a job. Obviously, Sasha hadn't been in the rotation for a few games, and he came out. He was big for us defensively, and I think he had an all-around really good game for us tonight.
As a team, what did you see from you guys defensively in that first half, and where did you feel like you guys got better as the game went on?
Definitely guarding the three-point line. I think they hit 12 threes. I'm not sure what the efficiency was, but I would assume it was good in the first half. And then second half, we were able to fly around. Obviously, at times you have to, blitz the ball screen with Steph, and then you're playing 3-on-4 on the back. 3-on-4 on the back end, and you have to try to make something happen defensively. And I think with our activity tonight, especially in the second half, I think was definitely good for us, and that allowed us to get back in the game.
I heard you mention it out there in the arena. You guys wanted to win, obviously, but how weird would that have been to lose that game in advance? I know now you'll never know, but that was obviously something that didn't sit well with you guys, right?
Oh yeah, but when you're in other positions, like you're in college or something, you could lose the last game and still end up advancing in something. AAU, obviously, if it's not bracket play, if it's pool play, and you lose your last game, there's still a possibility you can advance. So it's not something that's out of the ordinary, especially for most people who grew up in America playing AAU and those things. So no, it's not. It wasn't like different or anything.
Kendra Andrews, ESPN. What did the Warriors do differently in coverage and you in that second half that you got going a lot more offensively in the final two quarters?
They did the same things. I think I was able to get downhill a little easier. Obviously, that team switches a lot. Then at times, they throw out jump defenses, boxing ones, traps here and there. But for me, it was really just trying to get downhill. Obviously, I wouldn't even say this was a good game offensively for me, especially with the way I shot free throws. But we got it done, and my teammates definitely went out there and made plays down the stretch.
De'Aaron, would you call this a signature win?
I wouldn't, but we played them so many times, people would call it that, but that's 1 out of 82 for us.
And then what was said when you're down 24 and things were just not going your way?
Just stay the course. This league is a game of runs. You can be up 20, you can be down 20 in the blink of an eye. And whenever you're down, I think we got to 24, you try to get it to 15. Then try to get it to 10. And that's the way you have to think about it, because if you're able to go on those runs, you go from 24 to 17, they call a timeout. You go from 17 to 10, they probably call another timeout. So it's always a game of runs, and you just try to win as many segments as you can throughout the game.
Fox.
Yeah, it feels good just because how we won. Down 24, all the energy. Seems like a lot of things were going their way in that first half. Everyone knows kind of the little rivalry that we built within the past year with that team, and to beat them on our home court after they got us 2 games to start the year already, and the stakes that we're at tonight obviously feels really good.
You guys didn't want to win by point differential, right? It appeared that way anyway.
No, I mean, yeah, for the in-season tournament, it's about point differential, but in the grand scheme of things, playoff seeding and just standings overall, like this is a game we needed at home against obviously a good team, but like we said, they got the first 2, and if you look at the end of the year, us getting this one and hopefully the 4th one when we play them too, then playoff seeding at the end of the year won't go in their favor.
Okay, but what's your thoughts about Malik falling back and and knocking that shot down off the glass like that?
Yeah, sometimes you need him to bounce your way. His just aggressiveness. It seems like he's just being super aggressive when he comes into the games now. He's his ability to make plays and just make things happen for us. And we always want him being aggressive, getting downhill. And he had a matchup in a position where he had the ball to go make a play, and he did. And we trust him to do that.
Down 24, what was being said between the guys, maybe even in the locker room at halftime, just to kind of get back into the game?
Yeah, I mean, the way we score the ball, we know that really no lead is safe. And I felt like a lot of things weren't going our way. They're I think 50% from 3 in that first half. A lot of breakdowns on our part. Offensively, I don't think getting the type of shots that we can get within an offense. And so we knew there's a lot of things we could clean up and get ourselves back in the game. And the fast pace that these games are always played against, especially against that team, and the way they move the ball, the way they sometimes can turn over the ball. We knew that this was something we could get back into the game. And that's kind of what we were talking about at halftime, just after the third quarter, getting it under 10 and taking our chances. And I think we got it to 12 at the end of the third, and won the end of the game, obviously, and made it close. But I think the way that these games always go, how fast-paced, how many possessions, both teams want to play a similar style. No lead is really safe.
I remember that game earlier in the season, a couple weeks ago, when you're talking about how it appears like the Warriors kind of have your number, and just the feeling of losing another tight one to them. How much does the one win like this? How much can that go for getting over that hump with them?
It feels good for now. We know there's still a lot of matchups in our future with them, and they're a good team. And our games with them are always a lot of fun. I think the fans enjoy them. I think as players we enjoy them. It's a fun brand of basketball, and it feels like both fan bases and the NBA they love the matchup. So it always kind of feels a little extra. And this one feels good. It's only one battle, and we know we'll see them again.
Did you think Malik's shot was going to go down?
From where he took it, it kind of always looked good until I saw the replays after the game. Like I said, we'll definitely take our bounces, but at least he's being aggressive.
Malik talked about afterwards, so he felt like the trajectory of the game changed when Draymond Green got the technical. Would you agree?
Maybe gave our crowd life. We didn't really give our crowd much to cheer for in that first half, and they came out for us, again tonight. And I won't say that. It was kind of hanging in the balance. I think that third quarter, it felt like we're playing better, but it was still around 13. So maybe it did. I think my immediate reaction is no, but it did. It got our crowd into the game, so it might have.
How much did the point differential aspect change your in-game conversation? Like you mentioned halftime. You're down 17, and I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, if you're looking at just the tournament, they're down 6. Is that something that gets highlighted?
Yeah, we didn't know. I think going to the game, we didn't know what the stakes were. I think that Minnesota OKC game was still going on,
right?
And so we didn't know what the number was going to be. All we knew was, if we win, we're in. And
right.
So it really wasn't a conversation. I think it was more so.
Wasn't like an updated.
No, it was.
-11.
I guess -11.
Right.
It was. We were always talking about kind of winning the game, and right. This was let's get back in the game and figure out a way to come back and win.
How about thought on tomorrow with the Clippers?
Yeah, good, talented roster. First time playing in the season. back to back. Hopefully we bring the energy, but it should be a good one.
Cool. Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
So,
So those two guys stayed ready, and they went out there and they impacted the game at a very, very high level. But this was about our second half defense. Our second half defense was very good. Against the Warriors, they scored 51 points in a half. Not only did they score 51 points in a half, they had 20 turnovers. We needed every single point of the 26 points that we had off their turnovers, obviously, to get this game. And, obviously, a lot of it had to do because we didn't shoot the ball well from the free throw line. But to say you walked away from the second half with those guys scoring 51 points is huge. And then down the stretch, we didn't want to call a timeout. We knew they didn't have any. We didn't want them to be able to go offense, defense with their group. And so we just kept playing the game. And our guys, they had 2 big hits on Steph down the stretch, and it was just basically us yelling from the sideline, "Go hit, go hit, go hit!" And our guys executed the hits very, very well. Obviously, one, Malik hits a big, big 3 for us, and then the second one kind of sped him up a little bit. Draymond ended up turning the ball over when he threw it out of bounds, which led to the game winner from Malik. So I take my hat off to our team defense in the second half. A lot of different guys stepped up and played the way that we needed to play in order to squeak out a win versus a very good team. But I would, I gotta mention that Darren Fox. What a game. And I say what a game from the standpoint that not only are we asking him to score, okay, we're asking him to score, push the pace, get guys involved, make plays for yourself and for others. We're asking him to do that at a high level. But if you want the definition of a two-way player, you look at that second half tonight. And he went from guarding Klay Thompson to Steph Curry, back to Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, guarded Draymond a little bit. I mean, he was all over the place defensively. That's the definition of a two-way player. Put him in Webster's.
Before the game, you talked about, or you were asked about the mental hurdle of beating these guys, and Malik was in here, and he said when Draymond got the tech, that's when you guys saw that opportunity to really strike. But how did you see your team keep their composure from being down 24, chipping away? You went on a 7-0 run to close the first half, then you chip a little bit more in the third quarter, and then just really being able to strike when the opportunity presented itself?
I think it's a long game. And at the beginning of the game, they were hitting threes, but even I kind of found myself just kind of sitting back and letting the game try to unfold. Obviously, to get down to 22 or 24, whatever we did, I didn't expect that. I wasn't hoping for that, but it happened. And when it happened at a point of the game where it was still early. And, we've been through a lot. This group has been through a lot. They've been through a lot of adversity, and they've always seemed to find a way to just to persevere, to figure it out at the end of the day. And our group did that. Nobody panicked. We just kept trying to find ways. We talked about what we were doing wrong in the timeouts. We were starting to get a little carried away as a staff at the officials, and Malik came over and scolded all of us coaches. He said, "Hey, leave the officials alone. You guys need to be quiet." And I'm glad he did. We all got to be held accountable. That was probably the only thing that got a little testy is when Malik told us to shut up, and we were kind of looking at each other. Did he just do that? Yeah, he just did that. Okay, maybe we should listen to him. And we did. And once we did that, in my opinion, that's when we took off.
Was that like the third quarter or the second quarter?
It was in the second half when he came over and said that. Yeah.
Mike,
how do you see the progress afterward? How do you see the progress of Sasha from star injury
From what?
From start in EuroLeague.
Okay.
That was a start in EuroLeague now, in a new role in Sacramento Kings.
In a what role in Sacramento Kings?
A new role.
In your role.
Oh, new role. It's part of the process. I even talked to him about this. I had the pleasure, fortune, whatever you want to call it, to be able to coach a guy that was pretty good over in Europe named Manu Ginobili. And he came over about the same age as Sasha, 26, 27 years old, and he had done a pretty good job in Europe. And he was starting for a pretty good team in Europe at the time. And when he came over, I think initially we tried to start him. It didn't work out. Then we moved him to the bench. And then he actually probably had a couple of DNPs before he just was a guy that came off the bench that first year. So he didn't crack the starting lineup for us in San Antonio for at least a year. And it's an adjustment not only for the player, but also for the coaching staff too, to figure out how you want to be able to utilize him as a player to help your team at the highest level. And so I just told Sasha, hey, you know how to play. I know you know how to play. You got a good feel for the game. You can shoot the ball. I said, there's not going to be a time that I'm going to tell you that you took a bad shot, because you can be one of the greatest shooters out there. You just got to let it fly. I said, and if you're playing, great. If you're not playing, you've been through tougher situations than this, so you got to keep your head in the game and you got to stay ready. And when your number's called, I'm sure you'll produce, and that's what happened tonight.
Mike, going back to last season, Malik made a comment about this is always the player that he's been. It's just here in Sacramento he's been allowed to kind of express himself and play his style of basketball. I know you've talked about if he plays on the defensive end, you'll just let him go. But how important is the right environment for a player like Malik who can make so much happen?
I think not just for Malik, for a lot of players, you know, in the league, and not just with our team, with other teams too. And sometimes if it's the right fit for a player, then the player can blossom. And when that player blossoms, it helps the team. And I'm sure if you asked a handful of our guys, that the way we try to play, especially when it's a style that caters to a lot of our players individually. Kevin's a prime example. In Atlanta, he was more of a space spot-up shooter. Here, we're able to utilize the velocity of his movement to help not just him, but his teammates. And so, I've been in the league a long time, and one of the things that it took me a little bit, but one of the things that I've figured out is, you have to try to cater, especially offensively, cater your offense to your group of players. If you don't have a post-up player, you can't try to play through the post and try to score on the post, and Jay Triano and Luke Laux and the rest of the coaching staff do a fantastic job of trying to identify what our strengths are as individual players and make sure those fit into what we're trying to do with our team concepts on the offense and the floor.
Mike, how did you read that last possession before we kicked that shot?
Hi, great. We go undefeated, and we have the first seed, and we have a home court advantage.
How much you guys obviously going for the win there? Did it seem like point differential, you didn't want to win that way?
No, we obviously wanted to win, but if things got ugly, we knew we had to win at least by 11.
Yeah. And with just a Malik shot, did you think that was going in?
I didn't really see it. It was kind of me and him were in the play. I kind of ran out of a pick and roll. He kept the ball, and then he went to work. By the time I looked up, I was just fighting for the rebound, and it went in.
Talk about them getting the ball back, driving the court.
Yeah.
Just the sequence on that as well.
We've seen that so many times. I thought it was going in. I was under the rim trying to get the rebound. Thankfully this time it didn't go in.
I remember just a few weeks ago, like the feeling of losing to the Warriors again. Tonight, with all the circumstances and battling back from 24 down, what can one win like this over them do for you guys?
It was great, just mentally, so we know we can't beat them. So when we face them in the future, we just got to remember that.
Was that tech on Draymond, like, 3 minutes left in the fourth? Did that affect you at all, or do you feel like the momentum of the game at all?
It didn't affect us, but obviously it helps. It helps the team. You know, we got an extra foul on him. You know, and just at that point things were just going our way, and we were just winning.
How about the crowd? I mean, the crowd really responded that way.
Yeah, the crowd was amazing. You know, once we made that comeback, you know, we feed off their energy. You know, so there's nothing like a home court advantage for us here.
And Sasha was obviously so big. You guys had so many effort. Just what about him, especially?
He's amazing. You know, he came out. He's smart on defense. He had a couple stops. Got Steph some offensive fouls. Got a block or two. You know, and then he's just smart. He knows how to play the game. He puts himself in the right position. You know, he's not an MVP for nothing.
And how when you guys go down that 24? I mean, what's kind of the talk among the team? I mean, are you upset with what you guys are doing, or does it just kind of tip the cap to them?
I think what helped was that we knew when we were down 24, like, okay, let's just cut it to 11, and we're gonna at least go to the tournament, you know. So that kind of kept us alive. And then once we did get to that, then it's like, okay, now let's go win it.
Would you call this a signature win?
I don't know. It's just a win. We're happy we won, and we got to play Monday at home.
Tomas, what are you seeing different, if anything, from De'Aaron this year? Like tonight, he was 29-7. He talked about how he wasn't thrilled with his own game, but you look down and like his impact is all over it. I think he's taken 4 more shots a game. Just as far as the way you guys function and what he's given you, is it a different level for him?
For sure, he's playing at a different level. He's I feel like his IQ is even better this year. He knows how to get guys in the right spots. Teams are starting to double him, so he's making the correct read all the time and not just trying to force a one-on-one or whatever. You know, like today he had maybe 14 to start the fourth or the third, you know, and just took his time, you know, making the correct reads, you know. I know him, he's hard on himself, you know, so the free throws and probably some plays there and there, but that's what he does, you know. In these moments in the fourth quarter, he really pulls us together.
Has it been fun in that respect to go from, all right, the trade, and now I'm going to figure out what I think of this guy as my running mate, and then to see him just ascend and get better and better and to where he's going now? Is it fun for you to have a
Oh yeah, of course, you know, you definitely see it, you know. Not saying he wasn't serious last year, but the improvement of him off the court, you know, on the court, you know, making reads, like I said, is vast, and you can really see it, you know. He's really a leader, you know, and he's pushing all of us.
This tournament, I mean, you talked about early on just how much you were looking forward to it, knowing what happens in Europe. Has it lived up to the expectations that you had going in?
For sure, every game's been a nail biter. You know, the intensity's been up. You know, I mean, I think the fans are happy. It's fun, you know, and can't wait for Monday, and then hopefully, you know, go to Vegas.
What happened with your nail?
With my what?
Your nail, your finger.
Typical, you know, just a cut, scratch.
Yeah.
It was just bleeding, so then I had to stop the bleeding.
Okay,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anything else?
It stayed on though, right?